اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما وأصلح لنا شأننا كله ولا تكلنا إلى أنفسنا طرفة عين. So, as we mentioned in many of the previous lessons, we will be going through متن القواعد الأربع. But first, before we start the text of the four principles, we will go through some beneficial definitions which will enable us to understand the text a bit better. So obviously the intent behind this lesson is to try to hopefully understand, and hopefully some of you can memorize the text. And we are studying Arabic because we are studying the Medina Book 1. So hopefully it won't be too difficult, so that which we come upon with regards to the text that's too difficult for your level, we may just overlook some of it and just take the meanings, but some of it which is simple, then we will explain the meanings, or some of the rulings which we have already studied, then we will remind ourselves of them. So for example, in the title it says متن القواعد الأربع. So matan here would be what we've studied as mudaf, and then al-qawa'idi is mudafun ilayh. Matanul qawa'idi al-arba'i. And al-qawa'id al-arba' would be man'ut wa na'at. طيب, so before we get start the text, then we are going to go through these definitions, and if you are able to write them down, then please do. If not, then I will try and send them as a PDF. So let me try and make this a bit larger. So we have the first part where it mentions matan. So matan literally translates as a text, and the plural, which you probably hear a lot, mutun, mutun. So matan, text. The jim, so when we write jim, jim always stands for jam'un, always stands for jam'un, which means plural. So jam', so we have matan, jam'u, or jam'un, mutun. The plural is mutun. And then we have qa'idatun, the next one, qa'idatun, which means the qa'ida. Someone help me with the translation. Times the words just escape me, the translation. So qa'ida is the principle, naam. Or what it's mentioned generally in the Arabic language is a qa'ida is the basis which things are built upon. So sorry? Yeah, like a foundation which everything else is built upon. As we know, when your foundation is strong, everything else is strong. So we have qa'idun, jam', so the plural would be qawa'idu, qawa'idu. Upon qawa'idu, naam. So the principles, that's what we say, as is in the text. Matanu al-qawa'idi al-arba'i. So the qawa'id is from the word qa'ida. So the singular is qa'ida. Okay, so then we get to at-tawheedu. Okay, so the reason why I thought it's very important to do this, because based upon some experience that you have, unfortunately we have people that they attribute themselves to Sunnah, Tawheed, and yet many people find it difficult to explain Tawheed. If someone was to ask them, okay, explain to me what Tawheed is. And a person may be involved, or he attributes himself to da'wah or involved, but yet he can't explain or discuss the very thing that the da'wah is based upon. So we have Tawheed. So we're going to, what's the meaning of Tawheed is the masdar. So masdar means it's a root word. So Tawheed is the root word of, and then with the verbs are wahada, yuwahhidu, and then the masdar is tawheedun. So wahada means to make something one. So for example, you could say wahada, you could put it into a sentence. Wahada so you say wahada Muhammadun kutabahu. So Muhammad, he gathered all his books and put them into one. Naam. So the word tawheed is from the verb wahhada yuwahhidu tawheedun. And then when we see this word so you'll see this word in many books. So when they say it doesn't mean, it's not au, it's with a. And this is what's known as a tafsiri. Just do that again. It's meaning a tafsiri. So we know what the word tafsir means. It's when you explain something. Because when someone says when you see in a book they're about to explain what they've just said or what's just been written, for example. So we say a tafsiri. So tawheed, it means, or we'd say meaning, ja'alahu wahidun, that you make it one. So the word tawheed means you make something one. So that's in regards to the Arabic language. Ja'alahu wahidan, that you make something one and singular. And in the text, in the legislation, it's known as ifradullahi bil ibadah. So these, especially this part, is something you should memorize. So tawheed ja'alahu wahidan, that you make something one. And in regards to the religion, it is ifradullahi bil ibadati. Ifrad. So ifrad is singling out. So here ifradu is mudaf, Allahi is mudafun ilay. Ifradullahi bi with al-ibadati, bil-ibadati. Naam. Okay, so obviously this will, you'll have access to this. So I don't want to spend too much time on each one. We just go through the meanings and then you can go back to them, revise them, write them down, and try to memorize them. So then we come to the word al-ibadah. Okay, so these are just basic things we all should know. Al-ibadatu fil lugha. So al-ibadah fil lughati. So what it means is worship in terms fil lugha, in regards to the language. What does it mean in the language? Al-khudu' wat-tadhallul. Al-khudu' wat-tadhallul. So anybody guess the meaning? No, what's the meaning of khudu'un? So khudu'un would be like submissiveness, surrendering oneself. And at-tadallul Yeah, like so they all, it kind of has the same, like the humility, being subservient, humbling, lowering yourself. Yeah. So العبادة في اللغة الخضوع والتذلل. نعم. So you can't find a Muslim who worship that is proud and haughty. نعم. العبادة في اللغة الخضوع والتذلل. And then, which many people should already know the meaning. So العبادة في الشرع. So worship في الشرع in regards to the legislation is, and this definition is known or always attributed to Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah. When he explained the term al-ibadah, that he said it is ismun jami'un. Okay, ismun jami'un. So ismun jami'un, as the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as we know, that he mentioned himself, and we know that he was blessed with jawami'u al-kalim. Jawami'u al-kalim. So this word jami', it means concise. Jawami'u al-kalim means concise, short speech. That the Prophet ﷺ was able to say small sayings which had huge meanings. Like when he said, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ مَنْ صَمَتَ النَّجَى, and many, many others that the Prophet ﷺ was blessed with, jawami'ul kalim. And it is a skill in Arabic language, as we mentioned before in our Arabic lessons, that Arabic language is to focus on saying things with as least words as possible, but have better meanings or a bigger meaning. So he says with regards to al-ibadah is ismun jami'un. So it's a word which is comprehensive. So we can't just translate ibadah as it means worship. It's more than that. So he says ismun jami'un, it's a comprehensive word or a term, likulli ma yuhibbuhu Allah, for everything, ma. So this ma here is al-mawsul, so it means alladhi. So we've covered this. So likulli ma yuhibbuhu Allah, for everything which yuhibbuhu Allah, which Allah loves, wa yarda, and he is pleased with. Is pleased from with regards to what? And he says min al-aqwali, from aqwal, which is the plural of qawlun, which is a statement. So everything which Allah loves and He is pleased with from statements, aqwal wal a'mal. A'mal, as you know, is the plural of amal, actions. Jayid. So Tawheed ismun jami'un is a comprehensive word. لِكُلِّ مَا يُحِبُّهُ اللَّهُ, for everything which Allah loves. وَيَرْضَى, and He's pleased with. مِنَ الْأَقْوَالِ, from statements. وَالْأَعْمَالِ, and from actions. So we could say أَفْعَالِ. And then he mentions a very important point here. ظَاهِرًا وَبَاطِنًا. So ظاهر are both so statements and actions which are apparent, i.e., you everybody can see them, and batinan, and which is inner. Why? Because obviously we know that the munafiqun, that their ibadah is all zahiran, it's all outward, and because they disbelieve inwardly. طيب, so this So we should be able to memorize al-ibadatu اسم جامع لكل ما يحبه الله ويرضاه من الأقوال والأعمال ظاهرا وباطنا. نعم. So as we're studying Arabic, memorize it بإذن الله in Arabic. So I hope that's clear. No, this isn't in the four this isn't in the four principles. This, we haven't started the text yet. Someone's asking, I can't find it in the text. This isn't in the text. So all of these definitions, which I'm going through, they're taken from Sheikh Salih Al-Fawzan's book called At-Tawheed. So he has a book himself, Hafidhahullah, which is called At-Tawheed. And it's not Tawheed of Sheikh Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab. He has his own book. It's called At-Tawheed. وهو كتاب ممتاز. It's an excellent book, and in it he has all these definitions, and he has very good explanations. طيب, so we'll go to the next part. أقسام التوحيد ثلاثة. So then أقسام is the plural of the word قسم. We've actually done this word قسم, which is like a category or a section, and the plural أقسام. So أقسام التوحيد, أقسام is what and توحيد is what in the Arabic language? Anybody write it? أقسام is نعم. So yes, good, Abdul Muhsin. So أقسام is مضاف and التوحيد is مضاف إليه. نعم. أقسام التوحيد ثلاثة. So the categories of Tawheed are three. نعم. So none of this is new to any of us. So we have the first one, Tawheed al-Uluhiyyati. So they're all مضاف مضاف إليه here. All these categories, مضاف مضاف إليه. So we have توحيد الألوهية, and it's also known as توحيد العبادة والطلب القصد. توحيد الربوبية, which is known as lordship, and توحيد الأسماء والصفات. So the tawheed of Allah's names and his attributes. So I think we've gone through this in the three al-usul al-thalatha, and he's given a sufficient explanation of them, the brother Abdul Wali Hafidhullah. طيب. So I think we go through it in the text anyway, in explanation. Then we come to the term ashirku. So it's ashirku, and we don't say shirk, as we hear many people saying shirk. Shirkun, shirkun, ashirku. So we've done what the meaning of tawheed is, what the meaning of ibadah is, and then we go in. We're going to do the meaning of ashirk and the meaning of kufr. Because some people will, when they see something or they hear something, they automatically say that's shirk. But no, when you analyze it, it's kufr. Or some people say this kufr, but when you analyze it, it's shirk. So it's important to know the difference between them. So ashirku is جعل شريك لله في ربوبيته وإلهيته. So he says الشرك is جعل شريك لله, is جعل is making or ascribing sharik. So sharik means a partner. It means a partner, and that's why we've done in, I don't know if we've learned the word sharika. The word sharika, which means sharika means a business. And then within a business, you have shuraka. You have shuraka, so partners. So sharik means a partner, and shuraka is the plural. So we have ja'alu sharikin lillah, is that ascribing or making a partner lillah with Allah in regards to rububiyyatihi and ilahiyatihi. In regards to his rububiyyah and his ilahiyah. So in regards to his worship and his lordship. And then he mentions ashirku naw'ani. That shirk is of two types. Okay. Yes, as someone said, it's best just to listen now and then make notes and then revise them. So ashirku naw'ani. So naw'an, no, is the plural of naw'un. Naw'un means a type. So when he says ashirku naw'an, naw'an means two types. So shirk is of two types. So he said the first one, shirkun akbar, is major shirk. So akbar, as we know, when you say Allahu akbaru. So major shirk, and we have shirkun asgharu. So and then we have minor shirk. So we've learned the words in book 1, kabirun and saghirun. You can see where the words are derived from. So kabirun, we have akbar, and asgharu is derived from the word saghirun, small. But they're both what is known as ismu. Anybody know? Does anybody know? So they're superlatives basically in the Arabic language, like bigger, greater, smaller, better. اسم التفضيل. So then these are known as superlatives, اسم التفضيل, which you do in book 2, in the beginning of book 2. So then he asks the question. So these are all from Sheikh Fawzan, Hafidhullah. So he says, Mal farqu. So farq means difference. So he's asking a question. We've done ma hadha. Mal farqu. What's the difference? Bayna, between akbar wa asghar. What's the difference between major and minor? So pay attention. So he says, Ashirku al-akbaru. So he says, major shirk, yukhriju min al-millati. Yukhriju min al-millati. So this word yukhriju, it's from the verb. If you've studied, we've learned kharaja means to leave. But this verb is from the word akhraja, which means to make someone leave. So for example, we would say kharaja Muhammadun min al-fasli. Muhammad left the classroom. Then we could say akhraja al-mudarrisu Muhammadan min al-fasli. The teacher made Muhammad leave the classroom, or he kicked him out. So he says, Ashirkul akbaru yukhriju min al-millah, that it causes someone to exit, or min al-millah, so the millah from the religion. So it causes someone to exit from the religion. So the major shirk. وَالشِّرْكُ الْأَصْغَرُ, and he says, and shirku al-asgharu la yukhriju min al-millah. It does not cause a person, or doesn't exit a person from the religion. Min al-millah. Millah meaning the religion. As Allah says, وَاتَّبِعُوا مِلَّةَ إِبْرَاهِيمَ خَلِيلًا. وَاتَّبَعُوا مِلَّةَ, and they followed the religion or the path of Ibrahim. And he says, لَكِنَّهُ, but it, i.e. the who, goes back to shirk. but it's ينقص التوحيد. It causes a person's tawheed to have naqs. ينقص التوحيد, to have deficiency. So if a person is committing a shirkul asgharu, it doesn't take him outside of the religion of Islam, but it causes his tawheed to be deficient. And he would be basically, he would still be in a lot of trouble, as we know that everything that is small ends up getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So it's just like a very dangerous path. As the author, Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab, in the beginning of this book, he alludes to this in the beginning. So shirkul akbar, it takes the person outside the fold of Islam. But shirkul asghar la yukhriju min al-millah lakinnahu yanqus at-tawheed. And then another point, he says ash-shirkul akbar. So we're going through what's the difference between akbar and asghar. He says yukhallidu sahibahu fi an-nar. So shirkul asghar, akbar, yukhallidu. As we hear in the Quran, khalidina fiha abada. Even the word khalidun. So the verb khallada means to remain. So he says, ash-shirkul akbaru yukhallidu sahibahu. So sahib is the person. So it causes the person, its person, i.e. of shirk, finnar, to remain in the fire. So a person who dies, as we know, committing shirkul akbar, he will enter the fire, khalidina fiha abada, and he will remain in there forever. And the proof for it, and the proof of that is anybody?
إن الله لا يغفر أن يشرك به ويغفر ما دون ذلك لمن يشاء.
Ahsant. There's the qawl of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala where he said, Inna Allah la yaghfiru an yushraka bi. That Allah does not forgive an yushraka bi. That when a person commits shirk with him, وَيَغْفِرُ مَا دُونَ ذَلِكَ, but he forgives other than it, دُونَ ذَلِكَ, other than that, لِمَنْ يَشَاءُ, to whoever he wills. And then he says, وَالشِّرْكُ الْأَصْغَرُ, and الشِّرْكُ الْأَصْغَرُ لَا يُخَلِّدُ صَاحِبَهُ فِي النَّارِ إِذَا دَخَلَهَا. So he says, and شِرْكُ الْأَصْغَرُ does not cause the person, sahibahu, the person who does it, to remain in the fire forever. إِذَا دَخَلَهَا, if he دَخَلَهَا, if he enters it. So question in regards to the Arabic language. Why does he say دَخَلَهَا? You can say in the chat if you want. Why is it دَخَلَهَا?
Because النار مؤنث.
No, because the word nar is mu'annath. إِذَا دَخَلَهَا, if he enters it, i.e. the fire. Jade. So there's a huge possibility that he could enter the fire because of his shirkul asghar. But because it's shirkul asghar, that he can be forgiven for it, and he could, Allah could take him out the fire whenever he wills. So then we have another point, the difference between akbar and asghar. He says, ash-shirku al-akbaru yuhbitu جميع الأعمال. الشرك الأكبر يحبط جميع الأعمال. So this word يحبط, it's from the verb أحبط. فأحبط الله أعمالهم. which means أحبط means to render null and void. So الشرك الأكبر يحبط, it erases جميع الأعمال. So if a person has, you know, mountains of reward, and then he commits الشرك الأكبر, then that action, just imagine that the whole actions of a lifetime are erased by a shirkul akbar, that a person commits shirkul akbar, and all of the good he's done over decades are erased. So this is why it was understanding these principles lets us know why giving da'wah to Muslims who commit shirkul akbar, why it's so important, that they're doing all this worship for nothing. So الشرك الأكبر يحبط جميع الأعمال والشرك الأصغر لا يحبط جميع الأعمال. And he says, but shirk al-asghar, it does not cause all of the actions to be erased and become null and void. And there is a conversation which Shaykh al-Islam Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah, he has in his book Al-Wabil al-Sayyib, where he poses the question that if a person was to commit shirk and then seeks forgiveness, do his actions return back to him or not? Or are they just, he's lost them forever? It's a very nice conversation. And then he brings proof for both sides, and we'll probably go for that in another time. الشرك الأكبر, so the fourth point, يبيح الدم والمال والشرك الأصغر لا يبيح الدم والمال. So الشرك الأكبر, the difference between that and شرك الأصغر is يبيح الدم والمال. So it makes the blood and the money or the wealth of the person who commits الشرك الأكبر مباح, it becomes allowed. So if you had a Muslim, and obviously you can't act upon this in the UK, obviously in other countries, this is for the rulers, that if a person was to commit shirk and remains upon that shirk, then it becomes permissible, his blood becomes lawful, and his wealth becomes lawful. Why? Because he has now left the fold of Islam and refuses to return back. نعم. والشرك الأصغر لا يبيح الدم والمال. And the shirk al-asghar, that it doesn't render the person's blood or his wealth to be lawful. So obviously we're going to give examples throughout this of what is shirk al-akbar and what is shirk al-asghar. People can misunderstand and give unlawful rulings about people, and because they've misunderstood all these principles. طيب, so then we have, don't know if should we leave this and go for it the next time? Yes, I think we'll stop with this. So these aren't long lessons, these are just short lessons. We're going to take them bit for bit, because this is going through it with Arabic is not something very easy. So I think we'll stop there. So if you can revise what we've just gone through, try and at least try and memorize the principles of, or the definitions of ibadah, definitions of tawheed, the categories of tawheed, and at least in English, try and understand what's the difference, the four differences between shirkul akbar and shirkul asghar. What's the difference? So you memorize, for example, akbar, it takes the person outside the fold of Islam, but shirkul asghar doesn't. But it nullifies a person's tawheed. It causes one to stay in the fire, but shirkul asghar doesn't. Shirkul akbar, it wipes away all of a person's deeds, but shirk al-asghar doesn't. And the fourth one, that it makes the person's wealth and blood lawful, but shirk al-asghar does not. Someone's asking a question about Arabic, the previous lesson. Who can stick on task, please? If there's any question about what we've just done. As we say, we don't, you'll find if you study like this, just learning bits by bits, you will find out generally your knowledge will be stronger than if you listen to a lesson on Tawheed for like 1 hour or 2 hours. You just get an understanding, but memorizing the stuff and understanding it in Arabic makes it a lot clearer and a lot more beneficial. What's the meaning of al-hasar? I don't know what you need to write it in Arabic for me to understand it and put it into context. What's the meaning of hasar? Yes, that's the general ruling. So someone say, if a person dies upon major shirk, does it mean he won't be forgiven? Yes, that's the bitter truth.
Ustad, what is the difference between al-khudu and aslama?
The difference between what?
Al-khudu, the one you mentioned, al-ma'na. Al-khudu'u and aslama.
Or istislam.
Do they have similar meaning, did you say?
In English, they do.
Like in.
So, for example, when the meaning of Islam, but this is something we should do also. The meaning of Islam, the meaning of Iman. So, al-Islam huwa al-istislamu lillahi bit-tawheed. So, the meaning of Islam is al-istislam, is total submission lillahi, to Allah, bit-tawheed, with tawheed. It's not sufficient to say al-istislamu lillah, total submission to Allah. But a person may totally submit himself in one area, but not in another. So it has to be with the whole of Tawheed. As we know from the Quraysh, that they believed in Tawheed al-Rububiyyah, and they believed in Asma Sifat.
I just wanted to know the differentiate between it. So would you say that al-khudu' is more in Arabic terminology compared to aslama? Because one is surrendering, which obviously we can say surrendering and submissive. How would you differentiate between them both?
That's English. Oh, you mean between al-khudu' and aslama?
No.
Just look for the definitions. If you get a dictionary, look for the word khada'a and aslama. But off the top of my head, I can't give you the exact definition.
They come similar. I'm just trying to understand.
Quite similar, yeah.
A similar meaning. So.
Someone say, Ustad, can you please scroll the page? Oh, sorry. I don't think there is a PDF. Which book are you talking about? I will send you can get the PDF. Yes, we have it on, and it's been posted. It's in the pinned messages. The text for Al-Qawa'id al-Arba'. And I'll try and find the link for the Sheikh Fawzan's book, also the At-Tawheed. Okay, please explain why the blood, wealth, etc. becomes lawful. So obviously a person who commits shirk al-akbar, so and he remains upon that after it's been made clear to him, obviously what he's doing is incorrect, then he leaves the fold of Islam. He becomes an apostate, becomes a mushrik. So generally in the Islamic law, obviously an apostate, then his wealth and his blood become lawful. But that's for the rulers to deal with, not just you and you know, the average person to grab a person and, you know, start implementing the hudud of Allah, the, you know, all the punishments and, you know, ma yajuz. نعم. طيب جزاكم الله خيرا وصلى الله على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.